So, all right, welcome. We're going to start. I'm going to deal with some track presets here. This is a great way to kind of enhance your workflow for those who are tracking. What I've done while actually getting this video ready is a couple of things. I've set up a couple of tracks, a couple of auxiliaries here. Basically, if you were tracking maybe say a hook or something like that, something that's repetitive, you know you're going to need these settings. You know you're going to have your plugins, and you need a quick way to bring it up. This is a way to do it. So let's quickly go through it. Right here, I have 4 audio tracks, just named hooks 1 through 4. I've instantiated a channel strip plugin across all 4 tracks because just say for instance that's what I like to use. So I'll have those available on all 4 tracks, and I can, as I add audio to these tracks, I can adjust them as necessary to make them blend. That's a different tutorial for a different day, but hopefully you get the idea. All of these are bussed over to this track called Hook Master. And again, what I've done is set up a vocal chain of a certain amount of plugins that I like to use during some mixing or no tracking to get the hook sounding right. I'll go over them quickly. I'm not going to go over it in too much detail, but just a basic EQ, a compressor, SPL twin tubes, add some harmonic content in there if I wanted to. Happy New Year. Some modulation plugin. You can read up about it. If I get some good responses, I'll go into what plugins I use and why, and what it adds to the sound. And then after that is another EQ, some fine tuning. And finally, you just have a bus compressor to kind of glue it all together. Again, that's a different story for a different day. So we have all those plugins there. I'm going to make those inactive right now, just to save processing power in the sake of the video. What I've also set up here is some reverb and delay sends, right? Just basic reverb and delay sends. I have my reverb set to a nice little Lexicon plate, and your settings can change, but just the basic template. And also I have my delay set up, a nice little extra long, some EQ and some distortions, things that I like to use. And again, as you can see here, my delay is being fed right back into the reverb for a little effect. If I wanted to, I could go into a couple of different things, separate reverbs, but you get the idea. So how can I make this easily accessible in any Pro Tools session? Well, you could have just a basic session that you can draw and start importing that data over. But what I've learned from the guys over at the Air Users blog is you can do this. I can save all of this as a preset. And if I bring up my new track setting, and I've done this in advance, I have a vocal thing, which is new, right? You never saw that before. I have a vocal menu, and in that vocal menu I have a hook chain. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to delete all 7 of these tracks, right? So they're gone. And I'm going to bring them back really quickly by just going into my tracks menu, going down to vocals, and hitting create. And all those tracks with my plugin settings, my sends, all of my sends and all of my settings just come back. So it's a great way to speed up your workflow and maybe impress a client. How did I do that? Well, there's a couple of ways you can do it, and I'll go a little bit in depth, but you can get the gist of the idea. What I had to do, if we come out of Pro Tools for a little bit here, you're gonna have to do some editing. So you're gonna want to go to your system drive. You want to find your Avid folder, right? And then find your Pro Tools folder. Within this folder, as you see, as I made a track preset folder. I just went create new folder within this one, named it track presets, right? So we have that folder within that one. Within that folder, I made a vocal folder, right? And you see what you'll see here, and we'll get into where that happened here in a little bit. Actually, for this, let's just remove this, so it's gone, right? So I have these presets already set up in my system files. So let's go back to our session, right? And I'm going to select all of these tracks, go to export, select tracks as new session, right? And then skip all of this. Just go and hit OK. And it's going to bring you to this dialog, all right? And what you're going to want to do is navigate to that folder that you created. In this case, it was Applications, Avid, and then in the Pro Tools folder. And within that Pro Tools folder, we created this track presets. And in this case, I'm going to have a vocal, right? So I'm going to call this my hook preset, right? And I'm going to save it. Once that's done, I have to navigate back to that folder and do a little editing. So let's go back to Applications, Avid, Pro Tools, and locate the track presets folder that we created. Once I get to the vocals, I see the hook preset as a .ptx extension. If you hit enter, if you highlight that and hit enter, it'll bring you up this dialog. Now you can edit it. You're going to need to edit that session file to ptxt. You're just going to add the T in the end, right? And it's going to bring you up this dialog. Are you sure you want to change the extension to PTX? Yes. Just use PTXT, right? It changes it. And now we can come back into our Pro Tools session. All right. So let's delete these tracks again. They're gone. All right. And go into our new track dialog. As you can see, vocals and hook presets. Brought it right back. So a very easy way to get your session set up and started. It does take some time to set up, and there's some thought going about it. But if I wanted to, let's just create another one. Say, for instance, I wanted to create a master bus, like a stereo bus, right? So I just go ahead and create a new stereo audio auxiliary input, right? I'm going to name it. I like to call my stereo bus stereo bus, right? And there's a couple of plugins I like on them. So let's just go down and grab some plugins that usually we'll go really basic here because every mix and every tracking session is going to require different things. I'll go with a little bus compressor. I'll go with a multi-band compressor. I will go with maybe some, let's make it a little bit wider. So we'll go with center channel from Waves, right? And then maybe to polish it off, I will instantiate maybe Ozone. Let's put Ozone 5. Let's put Ozone 5 in that chain. Alrighty. Once that loads up, I have now my master stereo bus. So if I was going to do a little rough mix or a little mix and I want to have everything fed into there, I can do that. Let's put it on a bus. Let's call it master. And then the outputs, right? So this is my chain, right? And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to highlight that one track, go to export, selected tracks as new session. Let's make a new folder within here called stereo or stereo bus master, right? And then we'll just save it there and we'll call this ST bus. Cool. So I have those set. Let's delete all that stuff again and then go into our stereo bus master. And I did something wrong. Oh, you know what I did? I did not save it correctly. So let's get out of here. Yeah. Ugh. Uh-oh. Made a mistake. Move on to the next one. There we go. So let's delete all that stuff and come back into here, stereo master, stereo bus, and bam, there we go. With all our stereo plugins, instead of creating a new stereo bus and placing all the plugins that you want, you can already have it pre-made. So if there's any other questions, please hit my email at lighthousemusic, LITEMUZIK @gmail.com. And thank you for watching, and have a great afternoon.